Welcome back to Sparrow's Nest Farm, and back to our meal prep series. On today's video, we are going to be making some chili, or putting together some chili. Now, this one is going to be a little different depending on what you have on hand. What I purchased was a tube roll. It's a 3-pound tube of beef. And honestly, I purchased cheap beef because I'm fine with that. Whatever I need to do to stretch my dollar. Now, I'm not going to thaw this, break this up, put it in the bag, and refreeze it. I'm just going to leave it frozen, and I will thaw it at the time of cooking. So what I'm actually going to put into my bag is just my veggies and seasonings, and then I will put that with the ground beef to thaw it all together on the day of. So I'm going to label my bag chili veggies, and to the bag I am going to add 1 cup of onions. I might just add the remaining onions. Yeah, I'm just going to add the remaining onions in my bowl. It's maybe 1.25 cups, but we like onions here, so I'm not scared. Are you scared?
No.
All right. To that, I am going to add 3 cups of chopped bell peppers. Now, we really like a lot of vegetables in our chili because we don't use beans. We try to follow somewhat of a paleo diet or something similar, primal diet. So we really try to be careful about what foods we put into our body. And beans are something that, dried beans are something that personally my body does not handle well. And as a diabetic, they can spike my blood sugar. So we choose not to use them. If you want to, you could add some canned beans, just drain them, and I'm sure that would be good, but we are going to do that without. Now to that, I am going to add 2 cans of diced tomatoes. I wish I could say these were my homegrown tomatoes, but they're not. My garden was smaller this year, so I am doing what I can with what I have, and got store-bought tomatoes. So 2 cans, and these are 14.5 ounce. If you do 14.5 to 15 ounces, it should be good. Now it's supposed to be a 4-ounce can of diced chilies. However, apparently I did not know that diced green chilies are a holiday thing and nobody has them. So this is sliced jalapenos. If you can find the diced chilies, I highly recommend that. This will be okay as a substitute. So I'm just going to pour that in there. Now they're bigger slices, but that will break up in the cooking process, so I am not concerned with that. Now to that, I'm going to add, let's start with this one. I've got the remainder of a can of tomato paste that went into another recipe. So I'm gonna dig that out of there. And then 1 full can. Now, if you're not doing the other recipe and you only want to buy 1 can, that will be more than enough. I just made a mess. Had to expect it. If you only want to do 1 can, that'll be more than enough. But I like my chili to have a really nice, thick, tomatoey consistency. So I think this will be fantastic. Why is tomato paste so hard to get out of the can? This is where your own jarred tomato paste is definitely far superior. All right. And what's next? 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. That's 1. I'm really trying to keep that finger from making a mess. The Worcestershire sauce isn't helping because it doesn't come out easily. 2. And 4 tablespoons of minced garlic, which is going to be pretty much what is left in this jar. So I'm just going to dump this jar in. Now I do use pre-minced garlic. Don't judge me, y'all. I like things to be easy, and the pre-minced garlic is easy. All right. And the last thing we're going to add is some chili seasoning. Now you do 1 package of chili seasoning for every pound of beef. So when you're stretching this recipe, if you choose to do so, just make sure it's 1 packet to 1 pound. You can mix your own chili seasoning. I'm not sure exactly what the measurements would be, but you are absolutely welcome to do that. I just like to do these when I'm just trying to get the recipe done, so it works for me. One. Two. And 3. All right, I'm gonna squeeze the air out of this. And close it up. And that is my chili veggies ready for the freezer. I will be back with you on cooking day. Morning, everybody. It's getting pretty chilly outside these days, and chilly weather always has me craving a couple of foods. Soups, stews, pot roast, and chili. So today's recipe is going to be some chili in the crock pot. And I'm actually going to do something a little bit different with this, partly to stretch it out so that your money just goes a little bit further, but also because it just sounds amazing. And I'm kind of looking forward to it. So I will reveal that a little later in the video. To start with, coffee. So to start with, I have my 3-pound roll of ground beef, and I'm just going to open that up and break it up into the crock pot. Okay, so that meat is all nice and broken up, and I'm just going to put the lid on it. And I'm going to turn it to high. Now, there are a few different ways you could choose to do your ground beef. Does anyone else do this? I walk around all day with a towel on my shoulder. There are a few different ways you could do the ground beef. I am choosing to cook it in the crock pot for about an hour just to get it going, and then I'll add the rest of the ingredients. You could also just choose to add the ingredients now, break it up really good and stir it in and just let it cook. Or if you really prefer, you can pre-cook the meat on the stovetop and just brown it and then add it in with the rest of the ingredients. I think the flavor and texture is probably just a little bit better if you go ahead and brown the ground beef first. But I have some other things I need to do today. I actually don't have to leave the house today, which is it's a good day. I can do some stuff around here, but I do have a lot to do. So I am just going to throw it in the crock pot, let it go for an hour so that it cooks, and then I'll come back and add the remaining ingredients. If you are going to choose to add the ingredients and the meat all at the same time when it's raw, I would recommend cooking it on high for a couple of hours and then turning it down just to make sure that it gets cooked through. It's probably overkill, probably not necessary, but that's just my preference and how I would do it. So I will check back in about an hour or so to get the remaining ingredients in here. All right, it's been about an hour, and it looks like my meat is pretty much cooked up. It might still be a little bit underdone, but that's fine because it's going to cook for another 6 hours after this. So let's take this off. And before I add the rest of my ingredients, I just want to break this meat up a little better so that you don't end up with great big chunks in your chili. All right, and I've got my bag of veggies and such. So I'm going to open that up. Try not to spill it everywhere. And dump it in. Just opening the bag, I could smell the seasoning. So good. And I'm going to give that a stir. Tap, 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 tap. All right, and I'll put the lid on that. Set it to low. And I'm going to let this go for another 6 hours. I'll come in and stir it every once in a while. It's not totally necessary, just that's my cooking style. So we'll be back this evening and I'll show you what special thing I'm going to do with this chili just to make it a little more hearty and stretch it a little further. See you then. All right, good evening. As you can see, I always make a mess of myself. All right, good evening. The chili has been going for about 8 hours, so it is smelling delicious. Now, because I'm wanting to stretch this recipe out a little bit, I decided to go ahead and make some roasted red potatoes. And I just roasted those in the oven for about 30 to 35 minutes at 425. If you wanted to do potatoes but didn't want to roast them, or you had different type of potatoes, you could do mashed potatoes, you could do baked potatoes. I chose this just because red potatoes is what we had on hand, and I think this is going to be really good. And like I said before, in my family, everything was served on potatoes. So it's what I'm used to. And the reason for that is because it is a way to stretch the food out and make it go just a little bit further without adding too much more cost. So I have 8 bowls here, 2 for dinner, 4 for other dinners, and 2 lunch sizes so that Whit can take them to work. I like to do that when I can, just because it's a nice change for him from sandwiches and wraps and such. Now this chili is a bean-free chili. It only has meat and vegetables. I don't do beans very often. And we actually just prefer our chili this way anyhow. If you wanted to do something other than potatoes, some people will use crackers in their chili, and that is pretty good. I've done that in the past, but I'm choosing not to do crackers too much these days. All right, that smells amazing. Now, one of the things we really like to do with chili is add a little dab of daisy. I'm going to take this out to the dining room and we'll get ready to taste it. Sour cream.
Potatoes under chili.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to make a mess, but I failed.
Let's try not to make a mess.
Well, you don't want me to fail at that, though. Just saying.
All right, so you ready?
Ready. Anything I need to know?
This is not my normal chili recipe, so.
Okay. So trying something new.
Yep.
It's good.
Good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's got a nice bit of spice to it.
Yep. It's got a little bit of heat. The potatoes add a nice texture. And then, of course, the sour cream.
Yep. I'm going to say it's a keeper.
All right. Well, guys, I hope you give this recipe a try. It was a little bit different for what I normally do for chili, but I definitely liked it. I'll definitely do it again. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video if you liked the video. Don't forget to subscribe. We are trying to grow our channel, so please feel free to share us with anybody that might be interested. And with that, we are going to finish having our dinner. Take care, y'all. God bless.